I, 36M, found my wife, Julie, 32F, with my colleague, Marcus, making out on the patio at the Christmas party. Marcus works for the same department as me. I'm yet to have any confrontation with Julie, so whatever I'm writing is as per what I have seen and circumstantial evidence. I suspect their affair started after the last Christmas party, but they had cleverly been hiding it. I was new at this workplace and it was my first office party. Okay, before that, Marcus and I didn't share a good bond at work. Not because I was new, but because he considered me a threat. In the very first week of my joining, I was handed over some of Marcus' tasks which I efficiently automated using my software skills. The work that Marcus took a week to do, I delivered it in 3 days, which impressed everyone but Marcus. He tried different ways to find a loophole in my work, but he couldn't. He was heavily criticized by the management for not thinking something similar to me. However, this didn't help me much in the office. Marcus was a popular guy, more of an imposter and gossip monger. People love gossip, don't they? So he was the wannabe in every office group. Whereas I'm more of an introverted person who likes to keep it to myself. I go to work, fulfill my responsibilities, and head back home. I was happy with my small circle of college buddies and my wife. 2 months later, we had this annual Christmas party at work. I showed up with my wife. Julie is definitely a beautiful woman and a head-turner at any party. She makes sure to dress up well to show off her perfect symmetrical assets. Julie and I were enjoying and bonding with other coworkers. As the night grew, people started hitting the dance floor. Julie insisted that we dance, but I refused. Not a confident dancer, definitely not at office parties. I think Marcus would have noticed that. Because the next moment, I saw him approaching our table and asking for my wife's hand to dance. She looked at me and I smiled. I can't say no in that situation. I thought she would turn him down knowing the history between us, but Julie obliged and danced with him. I couldn't help but notice the grin on his face when he took her to the dance floor. When she came back, she was full of energy and laughter. Seeing my grim face, she said, "Oh, don't be mad. How could I refuse him? It would have been so rude." So I had to oblige. I realized she was right and it was just a dance. Eventually, I forgot about it. I got busy at work and didn't ever imagine that my wife would be fooling around with the person who has been my pain in the ass for a year. This Christmas party, yesterday, I showed up with my wife again. She hit the dance floor with some of my female colleagues but soon was seen grooving with Marcus. I was like, what the hell? But I had to pretend cool about it. Other colleagues were quick to notice it and they exchanged glances. Everyone is aware of the Cold War between Marcus and me. One of them, Noah, remarked, "This is why Marcus doesn't bring his wife along so he could shake off others' wife's booty." My face was flustered by his comment. I asked him to mind his language. He apologized and said he was just being funny. To make the situation lighter, other colleagues started the debate about whether Marcus is married because he claims to be single. Few of the suspects he's married, but he has been hiding it so that he could have opened chances with the juniors. Noah was certain that Marcus was married, but no one believed him fully because of his prankster image. He said his sister runs a salon and one day he had dropped by to meet her. There he bumped into Marcus, who was accompanying his wife for a grooming session. Everyone just laughed at this, thinking he was making this up. I felt suffocated sitting there and watching Julie shake off her booty with Marcus. I went to the patio to get some fresh air. Few minutes later, I heard someone's footsteps approaching towards outside. I ignored it, but as they came closer, I heard their giggles and moans as if they were making out on their way to the patio. To avoid getting bumped into, I hid in the corner at the back to escape from there once they were in. A moment later I found a couple entering the patio with lips locked and their hands all over each other. They were none other than Marcus with my lovely wife. He held her by her waist with one hand while the other one was inside her dress. My wife was holding his face with both her hands, lost in pleasure. I wanted to beat the shit out of them right there, but instead, I pulled up my phone and recorded everything. It was dark, yet the dim light did it work in capturing the right thing. Marcus held her by her neck to push her away from his face and said, "We don't have much time. Before your lowlife husband comes here searching for you, let me give you a good show." She giggled and bent on all fours. All of it got recorded. My body got numb. I could feel nothing. I don't know how long it was when a janitor showed up with the garbage bin. They hurriedly covered up themselves and left, cursing the janitor who interrupted their blissful time. After the janitor left finishing up his business, I came out of my hideout, headed straight to my car, and drove off. I crashed at my friend's place. Made him listen to my sob story until morning. When I checked my phone, I found one missed call from Julie. Looked like a courtesy call to show me she was looking for me. I bet she was happy to see me disappear so she could get banged by her lover in the open. This afternoon I came home. She was still sleeping. Understandable. Must have been sore from last night's action. I went to my study to hatch my revenge. She cheating on me is hurtful, but she's sleeping with the man who has made my life miserable makes it even more outrageous. Right now, I'm scavenging out Marcus' wife. I'm gonna find her and send the videos of his cheating. All of Marcus' social media accounts are private. I cannot see his friend list. I don't even know her name. In fact, I don't even know she exists. If you guys have any tricks for finding out a stranger on social media, please help me out. Would appreciate any help on that front. Thanks. Update 1. One of the most common comments here was, how did I not see this coming? Was there no sign at all? Well, I don't know if that was truly a sign or if I had too much faith in my wife. Few months after the first Christmas party, I think it was around spring, I was scrolling through my Facebook feed when I noticed Marcus' comments on Julie's post. I was taken aback. I asked her if she was in touch with him. She said, no, he was her Facebook friend just like thousands of others. She said Marcus had sent her the friend request after that party and she had accepted it. That's it, no big deal. I got alert and reviewed her profile more often. I saw Marcus' generous comments with heart emoticons on each of her photos. I asked her about this and she said it was just one of those hundreds of comments she gets on her pictures. Julie is not a social media influencer but she's very active there and her profile is open. I told her that Marcus is not the 100 strangers who comment on her pictures. He and I are not on good terms at work. He doesn't even talk to me at work, then why the hell he is interested in my wife's pictures? She replied sarcastically, you should ask him. Her response infuriated me and I yelled he is no one to me. I cannot question him but you are my wife. It hurts me to see you in touch with someone whose sole motive in life is to pull me down. Marcus had pulled many tricks at work to show me under the bad light. He was even successful a couple of times. I was severely criticized by my manager. Marcus is also a bootlicker and had manipulated our manager into his camp. Julie knows everything about my office politics yet she let Marcus' flirtatious comments slide into her inbox. This was until July this year. Then my department bagged a new project and for that, I had to travel twice every month to the client's office in Seattle. Work got really hectic and I barely had time to think about anything else. Marcus and I were both on the same team and had similar job responsibilities but somehow he was always free and loitering at the lobby whereas I was immersed at work. It was so overwhelming but I took it as a learning opportunity and worked my ass off. During this time, I found Julie getting emotionally distant from me. I thought it was because of my work commitments and travel schedule. I tried to make it up by taking her to fancy dinners on weekends and buying expensive gifts for her. She never complained about my travel or my absence at home. She didn't even acknowledge the growing coldness between us and this was bothering me. I insisted my manager not send me for a work trip so frequently or at least shuffle it between me and Marcus but he refused. He said I was more skilled to handle the client there. I said then why does he get all the Achievers Awards in every quarter while all I get is criticism? He had no answer but gave me a false promise that he would recommend my name for the next promotion. He was a bad liar. It was evident on his face that he was not going to do that. Talking about Julie, when she woke up after her long slumber that evening, she asked me why I left her alone at the party. I said, you needed me? I thought you were having a fun time with your new friend. She laughed and said, oh don't be a jealous baby. It was just a dance. I smiled and let it slide. She thought I was angry that she was dancing with Marcus. I let her think that because I'm gonna attack them without any warning. My search for Marcus' wife has yielded no result yet. I tried with Marcus' surname but the search result was overwhelming. I'm thinking of fishing out Marcus' address from the company's database and head out to his home. I find no other option than this. Any better suggestion than this, most welcome. Update 2, as some of you mentioned, it is next to impossible to find someone without a name or handle on social media. I was almost certain to go to his house and find his wife but then my friend reminded me about my colleague Noah. I felt he knew about Marcus's wife and could help me out here. Though he's a big-mouthed person and I'm not very fond of him but I needed his help. The next day when I went to work, I casually got into a conversation with him and asked him if he knew about Marcus' wife. He smirked at me and said, I knew you would ask about her, especially after last night's twerking. Yeah, that's how he is, an annoying piece of shit. I wanted to ask him about her name but didn't have the courage to do so. Maybe he sensed the desperateness and helplessness on my face and asked, do you want to know her name or contact? I immediately blurted out in excitement, please. He told me her name and said that he would ask his sister for her number. I searched with her name across all social media platforms and found her on Twitter. I told Noah that number is not required. As per her Twitter bio, she was working in a management position at one of the leading global organizations. I texted her saying I needed to talk to her about something very important regarding her husband. She responded with her number and asked me to call. Her response gave me the vibe of a confident and poignant woman. I called her and introduced myself. I told her subtly that her husband and my wife are up to something and I have the video of them together. She asked me if I could meet her after work. I said sure. When I went to meet her, I was mesmerized by her aura. She's definitely a woman of value and wit. I wonder how any man could cheat on such beauty with brains. That's right, only a fool like Marcus would. I narrated the details and showed her the video. Tears welled up on her cheeks but she remained composed. She was shocked to know that the office party had an invitation for spouses because Marcus told her that spouses were not invited. I asked her if she had never doubted him. She said she had caught him twice sexting some random woman on social media but it wasn't severe so she forgave him. I told her that Marcus claims to be single and has this reputation of a fuckboy at work and has been associated with many junior colleagues. She cursed him on top of her voice. She had been holding herself until then. She said that son of a bitch needs to be taught a lesson. Do you have any plans in mind? I said, no, not right now, but I'm definitely gonna make them pay for all the humiliation. She said, let's do it together. Now, we are on this together, planning our revenge. We have come up with some very amusing ways to ruin Julie and Marcus. We'll update the thread after the final nail in the coffin. Update 3, hold your seat belt, this is gonna be wild. Julie and Marcus have been served with hot piping revenge. AP's wife, Sandra, 33F, and I came up with the following revenge plan. We turned blind eyes to their affair. Though we knew they were lying about the sleepover with friends, we let it slide. We both pretended to be so busy at our work that we didn't give an F. Julie and I co-own the house. I made an updated document where Julie has made me the sole owner of the house and made her sign that. Not forcefully but tactically. She was once heading out to meet AP lying that she was going shopping with friends. I deliberately blocked the restroom wardrobe and made her run late. When she was about to leave, I asked her to sign an insurance renewal document. It wasn't suspicious because I pay for all her insurance, she just signs it and gets done with it. Between those papers, I kept the house ownership document. She signed all of them without seeing them. Sandra emptied all the money from their joint bank account, borrowed Marcus' car, and sold it off to a rookie. The house in which Sandra lived was hers, which she secretly leased out to a new tenant and got a restraining order against Marcus on that property. I blocked all the cards on which Julie was surviving. Number 3, number 4, and number 5 were carried out towards the tail of the revenge, just before ghosting them. Sandra bought a 5-day couple holiday trip to Florida as a birthday gift for Marcus. But a day before the trip, she lied that something had come up at work and she couldn't make it. Marcus quickly suggested that he could take this trip with his guy friend. Sandra agreed because it was a non-refundable package. During that same time, I lied to Julie that I was going on a 15-day work trip. I checked into a hotel during that period. She called me and said she was going to her school friend's wedding in Vegas. I asked her which friend she was that I didn't know of. She said they were not in touch for so long, but suddenly she called up and invited and Julie couldn't say no. I said sure, have fun. She was feeding me lie after lie. Marcus and Julie went on that 5-day vacation to Florida which Sandra had bought. We used their absence to execute our plans. Sandra emptied their joint account, sold his car, rented out her house, and got a restraining order against him. I blocked the cards which Julie has been using. Packed up her stuff and kept it in storage. The details would reach her through mail along with updated property papers and a restraining order after she returns. This would have been all if Marcus had left me alone at work, but he went behind me. He has proudly told his work buddies that he had been fucking my wife because I couldn't fulfill her. He made outrageous comments hinting at me. He even showed Julie's chat to his friends where she was expressing her desires for Marcus and even mocking me for giving her only vanilla $X while Marcus gave her a thrilling time. He used to read out her chats loud to humiliate me without taking my name. I decided to use this against him and recorded that stuff. Some of the coworkers from Marcus' camp even approached me to humiliate me that Marcus had taken my wife's. I mailed all the details to the company's HR, demanding Marcus' termination on the grounds of mentally torturing me. I even threatened the management to leak all this workplace harassment on social media and other review platforms. This negative PR cost a lot to the company, and HR promised me that evidence proved that Marcus was a bully and he would be terminated as soon as comes back from his leave, 5-day trip. I have also sent out my resignation and asked for an immediate release. I left a letter for Julie which she would get after returning from the trip. It would be to give her the closure. It consists of more or less the same thing I have mentioned in this update with a little extra detailing. I told her the truth about Marcus, that he's not single as he has been claiming and that he has a wife who's now my girlfriend. Sandra and I connected over our betrayal and we realized that we have so much in common. She's a smart and witty woman with a flourishing career while my loser wife is a bum. She has never done a full-time job. Her part-time job seemed to be a burden for her and she used to be complaining about it. I'm amused to imagine her dilemma when she would have to work full-time because now she doesn't have me to provide for her. Nor does her loser lover have a job. Sandra slipped off Marcus' credit card just when he was leaving for the trip. He would have found it missing after reaching Florida. The situation in Florida is going to be hilarious. Marcus has no cards and I have blocked Julie's card. Sandra has also called up the hotel to cancel the bookings just before Marcus and Julie were about to arrive in Florida. She didn't get any refund, but who cares? We could give up anything to watch the fun these losers go through on their lust trip. Sandra and I have also decided not to divorce these losers because we don't want to waste a penny more on them. If they want to get rid of us, they can pay for it, which looks highly unlikely now. We both have updated our wills and removed them from all our assets. In case any unforeseen happens to us, they shouldn't get anything by default as they are our spouse. Sandra and I are moving to Seattle to start a fresh life. I got an offer from the client company to join them directly. The raise is 2x to my last company. Sandra said she wanted to take a break from work and enjoy it for some time. She had enough savings to last for a couple of years without worrying. Our belongings are already on the way to Seattle. By the time Marcus and Julie return, we'll be away for our month-long holiday to the Caribbean, basking in the sun. It's so much fun with Sandra, a woman who matches my intellect and curiosity. I feel so lively again. We are not seeing our forever with each other. Don't want to put that burden on ourselves, but yeah, enjoying our time together until we can. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Busted my wife's affair with her professor by exposing their texts and videos during her big presentation. They both got kicked out. I, 29 male, and my wife, 27 female, have been married for about 2 years. We met on a typical date, one that involved drinks and good conversation. I learned she was a dentist and had recently graduated. She pushed her way through dental school, and she's been successful thus far. I was a contractor for a business and didn't make anywhere near as much money as I heard her making. Still, I wanted to support her, and her love of classical music also brought us together. I took her to see the orchestra, and because of this, the two of us fell in love. After a few months, we moved in together. We both lived in an apartment and eventually, over the next year, realized we felt strongly for one another. With our combined income, we ended up getting a townhouse. I started getting better gigs and working on my business as well, and I fronted most of the mortgage despite her having a successful dental practice. Eventually, a year later, after we moved into the townhouse, popped the question. I asked if she would marry me at a classical music concert on the anniversary of our dating. She said yes, and in a few weeks, we rushed the ceremony and were married. Things were great. I provided for her, getting her luxury items when I could. She gave back as well, despite insisting that I didn't need to. But I loved her, and I wanted to give her the world. Then, things changed. My wife was told that her education was too archaic to qualify for her position. She needed to get continuing education or come back and get a higher education. When she told me this, I was a little hesitant. That's one income that we'll have to rely on. She insisted that the practice would be okay. She wanted to run it still but would have a more hands-off approach rather than hands-on. After some back and forth, where I told her that she could just do it part-time or something, we came to an agreement. She would go back to school, and I would provide for both of us. It wasn't a huge issue. However, it did mean that both of us would have to live a bit more modestly. She enrolled in school and went full-time. She told me that she'd be done within the year, and then, once she was done, she wouldn't need another continuing education for another 5 years. She could do it throughout the years on her own time. I agree with this, thinking it would be easy. I mean, it's not like I wasn't making money, right? But then, it happened. We had some financial troubles. It began with losing a couple of major contracting jobs. I figured I could bounce back and get it together. Then, I discovered an employee was embezzling the company funds. Thousands, in fact. We had to pay for a lawyer to provide litigation for that, and I also had to shell out money just to win the case. It was hell, to say the least. I had to do this all on my own because my wife wasn't helping with it. That's when I started noticing the changes. Instead of being open and inviting, my wife grew distant, almost cold and uninviting, and whenever I asked her how school was going, she would act distant. Something was up. I noticed she spent her nights at school later. She told me it was because she was trying to get help from her professor, but something seemed up. When I asked her what she needed help with, she wouldn't directly respond. She said it had something to do with dental techniques and nothing more. I brushed it off initially. After all, she might just be stressed. However, other aspects of our relationship deteriorated. The most apparent was the sex. We had it less and less. She shied away, telling me she was too tired. Even on the weekends, when she was freer, she'd hole herself up in her office to work on homework. Eventually, I grew frustrated. Why was my wife pushing me away and kicking me out? I grew curious. I told my buddy about it, and he told me that she might be cheating. That's preposterous. Cheating? Why would she cheat on me? Then, it occurred to me. Maybe that's why she got distant. My friend said the only way to prove it would be to look at texts and recordings. So I did. One night, while she was in the shower, she left her phone out. I thought that it was bait, but when I opened it, I saw some texts. They were all for someone called Professor B, and there was a heart next to it. She sent this person flirty messages, even saying that she wouldn't come home late and planned to spend time with him. I had to figure out who Professor B was. I scoured through the school records, finding Professor Burns, one of the lead professors for the dental division. Suddenly, it all made sense. My wife is distant, and of course, she has her own personal disdain for all forms of intimacy. It upset me, but I knew what I had to do. I quickly formulated a plan. My wife had a presentation for her dental academy project. I went to her computer and changed it out. A smile formed on my face when I did it. My wife mentioned her presentation. I asked if anyone could come see it. She said yes, and then I told her I'd come see her. She grew nervous, saying I didn't have to. However, I insist. So, on the day of the presentation, I walked in, sitting right in the front row. I watched as it was her turn. My wife popped in the PowerPoint, and the smile she had turned into a look of horror. It was all the messages of her cheating, revealing to everyone here that she was seeing Professor Burns. I even found a couple of videos on her phone, too, which I showcased. When my wife asked what this was, I asked her back. I told her that I knew she was cheating and that I wasn't going to let her get away with this. I called her a cheating whore, and that I didn't want anything to do with her. She finally broke down, saying that Professor Burns was a good man and that he made her happy. I told her that was no excuse and that I was disgusted with her. Professor Burns was outed, and the faculty immediately fired him. They told him never to come back or teach at the university. I don't know if he ever found another job or if his past haunted him. As for my wife, her being used as a cheater was embarrassing, but the dean took it upon himself to kick both of them out. My wife was blacklisted from other universities, too, as it was found she plagiarized a couple of papers. She lost her job and wasn't able to go back to dental school. I kicked her out of the house, too. While I fronted the mortgage, and it was hard, I don't regret it. She's a cheater, and I don't take it kindly. She did it because he made good money since he had some big papers. Still, it sucks learning about this. But it is what it is.